Hello, everybody, and welcome to another day, another United Talks Podcast, another Manchester United News Live. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple of other things, like loads of news going on right now, But Manchester United definitely face Liverpool in the weekend. Everybody's looking forward to that. Everybody's anticipating that game and making the predictions. And the headlines are already pretty much explosive. Reports claim that Rúben Amorim told Manuel Ugarte, told him off. We're going to dive deep into that and what that news is all about. And then, obviously, we're going to talk about Amorim's reported confrontation of Manuel Ugarte. We're also going to talk about the injury updates with regards to Mazraoui, Martinez, and Heaven. We're also going to talk about transfer news with regards to Adam Wharton, which we talked about yesterday, but we're talking about it today. Adam Wharton and basically Carlos Baleba. And then we're also going to talk about, the pressure after a mixed Premier League start to the season that never seems to go away for Rúben Amorim. And then we're also going to talk about just do a bit of a tactical preview for the Liverpool game, which we will eventually do tomorrow. Thinking about doing it live, but let's see how that goes. So a few things here and there. I don't know how you guys see this, but I'm just going to talk about the conversation the fans forum had a meeting yesterday, Wednesday, 8th of October, and senior officials and appointed fan representatives came together to discuss matters relating to supporters' experience, including ticket policies, operations and match day, and they also came to talk about fans forums. They came to talk about other things that are relating to the fans. These fan forums meet quarterly and convene again in December. This was the first forum for 6 new representatives following open applications in June. So I'm just going to talk about the takeaways from the fan forum conversation that happened. Now, with regards to the stadium survey, the next phase of the consultation on the club development of the world-class stadium is now live. The club launched a supporters survey in the market with market-leading research company CSL, which covers potential features in a new stadium, such as facility, seating, and pricing options. All fans were encouraged or have been encouraged to share their views before 11:59 BST PM on Thursday, 6th of November. So there's still ample time to respond. And then £2 million in donations were raised. Since the ticket scheme launched, season ticket holders have raised over £2 million for Manchester United Foundation, and all donations go towards educational and community outreach programs across Greater Manchester and beyond, making a difference to young people and their families. And with kiosks, with regards to kiosks, basically, Man United are saying they're making improvements to the stadium concourse and the matchday experience for fans at Old Trafford, and successfully trialed the bar technology at the North Stand, and e-bar technology at the North Stand, and also upgrading additional kiosks to serve Jalt beer on West Tier 2 and East Tier 2, with installation to be completed by the end of November. So they're still kind of making subtle changes. And then for the global support, Man United are delighted to have welcomed another 17 official supporters clubs already this season, including clubs in 3 countries for the first time: Trinidad and Tobago, Uzbekistan, and Chile. And then obviously with regards to the tour, it was fantastic to connect with so many global supporters clubs across the preseason tour, co-delivering activations in Stockholm, Toronto, Niagara, New York, Chicago, and Atlanta. And they also delivered community programs with key partners across the summer, including the Street Soccer USA, Chicago Bears, and the Chicago Bulls, supporting young kids to get active and empower positive lifestyle choices. So that's pretty much all from the fans forum. Straightforward, nothing nothing deep, just, you know. And I hope that, you know, I checked out the fans forum representatives, and they look like pretty decent people. Hopefully they're able to speak the voices of the fans and all of that, but it is what it is. Now we're going to start with a daily Manchester United news roundup as of today. Obviously, Amad Diallo scored a direct free kick and recorded an assist for Ivory Coast in a 3-0 victory over Kenya last night. Bruno Fernandes started and played 62 minutes for Portugal in a 2-2 draw against Hungary. And I watched that game, and you must have remembered from the live when we talked about it yesterday. I watched the game, and I expected that, you know, Portugal would finish off Hungary, but Hungary didn't want to die, or didn't want to lose. So basically, Cristiano Ronaldo scored 2 goals, with Portugal coming from a goal down, and lo and behold, Hungary scored, I think, at the 4th or 5th minute, and then Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 347th goal, and then scored his 348th goal, and then they subbed them off and made wholesale changes, and boom. I think nobody's at fault for that, because if you look at it, okay, yeah, maybe because they subbed off the left back, you know, Mensch. But at the end of the day, Portugal drew the game. Hopefully they're able to come back for that. Diogo Dalot was an unused substitute, so that's by the way. Then obviously Diego Leon, one of our major contributors to this channel, ITN, was asking about Diego Leon, and apparently he was going to make his debut off the bench for Paraguay against South Korea to make his international debut in a 2-0 loss. So Diego Leon played first team football for Paraguay. Hopefully he's able to stake his claim in the left wing back position for Manchester United. And Casemiro started for Brazil in a 3-2 loss against Japan. Matheus Cunha came off the bench and played 33 minutes. So it is what it is. Then, as per Rob Dawson from the ESPN, Manchester United have ruled out keeping Casemiro beyond this current season, if he accepts a salary reduction. Speaking of salary reductions, I have basically, it sounds kind of funny though. So hear this. One outlet on X posted that Manchester United are considering extending Brazil midfielder Casemiro's contract beyond this season. However, if he takes a pay cut on his massive 375,000 per week salary, United have the option to extend his contract by 12 months until June 2027, with Casemiro having become a key player for Ruben Amorim. That is his sources, Mail Sport, right? The same channel, same handle, posted again, saying from ESPN FC, Manchester United could be willing to extend Casemiro's contract, but only if he agreed to reduce his £304,000 a week wages. So current £345,000, from the same source, ESPN FC, and then the same source posted that is from Mail Sport, £375,000 per week. Pretty much, you're just pretty much guessing his salary and all of that, but it is what it is. We have to just keep moving. But Rob Dawson says if he accepts a significant reduction, he probably would, get a contract extension. Also, as per Steve Brailson from the Manchester Evening News, Lisandro Martinez is closing in on a return to training, but United will not take any risks. So his return to a matchday squad is not imminent. He could return just before the November international break, which is what we predicted the last time. 2 days ago and yesterday as well. He went for a warm weather break in Dubai, I think. I think it's Dubai. Yeah, he went for a warm weather break, and basically a warm weather training, basically not just a break, training. And then obviously there were rumors that he's returning, and I did the research and found out obviously his return is not imminent. Basically his return is a little further back, maybe end of October, or is going to come back beginning of November. So that's pretty much around 9-10 months, which is pretty much a good recovery time for him. And it is also being said that he has been working really hard in the gym to actually get his fitness levels up. So that is by the way. As per the Daily Mail, there had been high hopes of midfielder Sekou Kone, particularly after plans changed to keep him in-house rather than send him out on loan, but his fractured eye socket derailed the season and he's now on the mend and close to a return. With Sekou Kone, I think I've done a player profile on this guy, and we talked in detail about his origins, how he got here, what he did, how he achieved what he achieved, and how he got to Manchester United and his style of play and everything in between. We talked about it in one of our player profile videos, and yeah, hopefully we see him return, and eventually one of those guys that we sign for cheap, and then hopefully he turns out to be one of the better players, especially in that defensive midfield role where we are lacking, bodies and all of that. So it is what it is. Yeah. As per the Daily Mail, there's every chance that Man United will be in the market for a new goalkeeper next summer. I don't see that as a problem. We need a goalkeeper. We always need goalkeepers. We have Retegui. I don't think he has a problem too. He's playing really well. We also have what's his name? We also have I think we have other younger goalkeepers. Maybe we might sell them up me. And then obviously with regards to other goalkeepers we have in the squad, we might also, Tom Heaton is leaving by the end of the season, going to be 14 April. And his contract going to end in June. If he wants to continue playing, probably will be extended, or he becomes a goalkeeping coaching or a coach or assistant coach or something. Goes on to become, a good coach. He's a good lad, and I hope he gets the chance he desires to play for Manchester United as an academic graduate and all of that. So we need a goalkeeper. We will need a goalkeeper. I saw news somewhere. Where did I find out that Man United were interested in one goalkeeper? Noah Atubolu is one who has impressed Man United scouts this season, and that's according to Graham Bailey. So might as well just keep an eye out for all those ones and then we'll let them. We'll find out whatever comes out of it. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Who do you think Manchester United would sign in their summer of 2026? But I don't think goalkeeping should be our problem now when we have Senna Lomans, who is doing well and hopefully gets a start against Liverpool. And then, obviously, like I said, it's more likely to be a backup option to replace Tom Heaton and possibly Altabander if he finally tries of being on the bench. So the way to put this news should have been that it is more likely to be a backup option to replace Tom Heaton and possibly Altabander, should he be sold, because he will definitely be sold. He has been a backup option for a long time, but hasn't also pulled up trees being in the Man United squad. But it is what it is. Then, obviously, as per Alex Crook, Brighton have no plans to cash in on Carlos Baleba next summer. Suggestions that the player is unhappy and is pushing for a transfer have also been played down, and have been played down by the owner and by some of the executives of Brighton. But we'll keep an eye out for that. If it breaks, we'll let you know. Now, speaking of before we get to let's moving away from Carlos Baleba and looking at the options we have. I think there was reports from Pete Hill Pete Hall, and the iPaper. The iPaper. Never heard of that before. That Adam Wharton is Manchester United's priority midfield target ahead of Carlos Baleba. Rúben Amorim admires Wharton's directness in passing forward. I don't know how that is very important, but it is what it is. I know that he's one of the players that Man United will be targeting and all of that. So with that, I talked about it yesterday, that there's a chance that the deal could be scuppered by, Crystal Palace, and also for that of Baleba by Brighton. So I think there's a chance that takes a double blow when we'll have to switch targets. And obviously we talked extensively about Elliot Anderson, and we can always talk further and break it down as the case goes. I mean, once we hear anything solid, we'll break it down, and probably in the culture of this channel, do a player profile of Elliot Anderson. So now, as per Alex Crook, another potential general option for Manchester United is Borussia Dortmund's Joe Bellingham, but this is seen as a difficult deal to do mid-season. We already know this. We talked about it yesterday. We broke it down yesterday and all of that. Then the next one is, as per Alex Crook, Manchester United's target, Antoine Semenyo. Antoine Semenyo does have a release clause in his current Bournemouth contract. This price has not been made publicly available. Yeah. Now, how is that our business? I mean, we all know that Semenyo has a release clause. But how is that news? But because it's Manchester United, there's going to be news. So we're going to talk about other news, basically break down other news, and then we can move on from here. Okay, no, not this one. Let us go to another news. So speaking of, as of today, according to Dale O'Donnell, speaking of Carlos Baleba and Adam Wharton, we'll come back to it in a bit. After this short break. Okay, welcome back. So speaking of Carlos Baleba and Adam Wharton prices, according to Dale O'Donnell posting on United in Focus, Man United are fully aware of Carlos Baleba and Adam Wharton prices, and Ineos are prepared to move. So it's a bit of conflicting reports that we keep hearing and seeing about Carlos Baleba and stuff. So Manchester United are keeping a close eye. This is as of today, keeping a close eye on multiple targets ahead of PG 2026, with Ruben Amorim expected to strengthen his midfield. It was another summer Manchester United, overlooked issues in the midfield, and they talked about Eriksen's legs gone and all of that. But Man United have been linked with an array of midfield options since the summer transfer window closed, and this has led to claims from Fabrizio Romano that United could sign a midfielder in January, which would be an attempt to make up for not signing one in the off season. A decision that has left Amorim short in an important department of the team. However, United remain firmly on the trail of Carlos Baleba and Adam Wharton. Still, the club see them as summer 2026 options, with both their respective clubs confirming that that neither will be sold in January. United are in the market for holding midfielder, but depending on exits, they could sign more than one. They want one now to be able to play the double pivot role. in the Amorim system, but with Casemiro set to leave and the futures of Menu and Fernandes far from certain, there could be more than one targeted. United sources confirmed that a January signing could be made, but that would not mean another could not follow in the summer. Graham Bailey also revealed that it could be the case that we see a midfield signing in January, maybe even a loan, before we see more permanent fixture in the summer. However, as they demonstrated in the summer with Mateusz Cunha and Brian Buma and Benjamin Šeško, they can still attract top talent and outdo rival clubs along the way to that end. You really can't rule out the likes of Baleba and Wharton and others. So it's just all speculation, you know. And United are fully aware of the prices we are talking about. That's according to Graham Bailey. Wharton and the likes are not 50 or 60 million players. They realize they are twice that. Ineos are backing United and know the sort of finances needed. Know the sort of finances needed to compete at the top. Yeah. So it is what it is. Yeah. So it is pretty much straightforward, and all of that. They're all kind of speculations, and there's a whole lot of midfielders mine I can get. I'll do further research on that. I mean, we've talked about a couple of midfielders. Talk about Lucien Agume, one of the defensive midfielders that we're looking at. There's multiple defensive midfielders that we need. Obviously, speaking of midfield, we're going to be talking about Manuel Ugarte, so just hold on. We're going to talk about Manuel Ugarte in a bit. I'm talking about the guy because obviously Ruben Amorim said some things to him last season, and I'm going to give you like my own thoughts on, you know, basically his reaction to the situation and the difference between him and other players. So yeah. So there's a whole lot going on social media with regards to Ruben Amorim, and we don't want to go into it because we've talked a lot about Ruben Amorim. But you know, they're talking about potential hiring of Ruben Amorim, talking about, you know, all the other things with regards to potential players and all that. Now, let's talk about injuries and updates ahead of the Liverpool clash. In truth, we can go on and on talking about the Liverpool clash, but we'll do a pre-match preview for the game, for the Liverpool game, and then we'll analyze every bit of it. Noussair Mazraoui is close to returning from a thigh injury. Everybody's saying that he's going to be back for that Liverpool game. Could feature against Liverpool in the weekend. He has rejoined training and has not played since late September, so that's pretty much 2 weeks ago. Lisandro Martinez is still recovering from his ACL injury sustained in February and is likely to return for the Liverpool clash, but is targeting a return for November international break, which I brought to you at the top of the show that we're looking at before the November international break. So this is good news. Basically, Man United have not reported any injury during the international break, and that is good news. That is absolutely amazing news. The Man United have not reported any injuries during the international break, right? So yeah, it's something to be happy about and stuff, but it is what it is. We have to keep going. Also, give me one quick sec. Yeah, also Aiden Heaven was forced off in England on the 20s game, but there are no other injury reports for returning players. Most likely players are going to return tomorrow. Most of them are going to be taking their trips today and coming in tomorrow. So yeah. Now let's talk about other transfer rumors. Let's talk about other transfer rumors. Manchester United reportedly reconsidering their midfield targets, and I talked about Adam Wharton emerging ahead of Carlos Baleba, and obviously United are reportedly considering a move for Saka, this is another one, Jean-Philippe Mateta, in the next summer transfer window as a potential support for Benjamin Sesko. What does that mean? Does that mean that they're going to let go of Zirkzee, or Zirkzee is going to be repurposed into another position? We'll only find out later. So Jean-Philippe Mateta, it's not a bad player at all. He's been scoring for Crystal Palace. But scoring for Crystal Palace is different from scoring for Manchester United, especially when you have to make chances yourself as a striker. Then the next one we have on our list is there are reports that Manchester United had a deal for Liam Delap 90% complete before Chelsea signed him in the summer. How is that relevant to Man United today? He's gone to Chelsea. He's barely played a game. He's been injured for a long time and all of that. Yeah, he was a traditional striker, but it looks like we've kind of dodged the bullet there because we got Benjamin Sesko, who's about the same age, has high potential, and everything in between. So, yeah, we can only make do with what we have, and yeah. So Liam Delap was almost 90% complete. Everybody knew that was going to happen. Liam Delap almost signed for Manchester United, and boom, Chelsea got him. So it is what it is. Now, United are reportedly monitoring Mateo Retegui of Al-Qadish as a potential replacement for Zirkzee, who is expected to leave in January 2026. That would be very unfortunate to see Zirkzee leave because he barely had playing time at Man United. He even barely had the chance to start for the club. So, yeah, that would be very disappointing for Zirkzee. We talked about the Casemiro contract extension. We talked about the release clause for situation. Now, another one. And this is from another Manchester United legend. And I always talk about these legends when they don't know that they have the power to make statements that would define the futures and destinations of clubs like Manchester United, especially with Man United legends and how big they've been. And the Man United legend has come out to say that he has criticized Manchester United's transfer strategy, questioning the decision to sign Benjamin Sesko to replace Rasmus Højlund. We're going to go into details as to what he really said, because you can't take everything for what he has said and all of that. Yeah, we'll look at it, and then so Paul Scholes points fingers over. So this is according to the Mirror. Paul Scholes points fingers over Man United transfer mistake as star shines after exit. Man United icon Paul Scholes has taken an aim at Red Devils' approach in the transfer market after signing Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig in the summer. This was as of today. Man United legend has questioned Man United's Man United legend Paul Scholes has questioned Man United's summer targets, or summer transfer tactics rather. The former midfielder is unconvinced by the club's approach to signing Benjamin Sesko while allowing Rasmus Højlund to leave. Okay, just hold on. I will tell you what Paul Scholes said in the overlap with regards to, I think, when they had the fan forum or something. Yeah, when they have those fun things, I'll let you know. Now, Paul Scholes reckons that United had made a mistake by thrusting Sesko into the same position Højlund found himself in when he arrived at Old Trafford, where he was expected to lead from the front as United's main striker. The Denmark forward signed for the Red Devils for 72 million. Yeah, I'll come to you, ITN. Just give me a sec. For 17 million, but struggled to establish himself as a reliable goal scorer before making a move to Napoli. Now, Højlund has bagged 26 goals in 95 appearances for Man United, but only 14 in Premier League. That saw the club's chief move to replenish the forward line by signing Benjamin Sesko, Bryan Mbeumo, and Matheus Cunha for £200 million. But Scholes believes United are repeating the mistakes of the past, with the 50-year-old claiming that they have put the 22-year-old striker under the same exact pressure as Højlund. This is the same Paul Scholes that in that overlap situation, in that overlap fan meeting they usually have, he said that, okay, so he defended Rasmus Højlund at some point, saying, oh, he's a young lad who was put into the deep end and he really struggled and all of that. And then today, he basically is saying that Šeško is being put in the same situation. After that, he also criticized Rasmus Højlund for not delivering. He criticized Rasmus Højlund for not scoring goals, for missing chances, criticize his stats. Now he's coming back to criticize the owners, the club and the board for their strategy. He says, you look at Rasmus Højlund, 22-year-old kid, came when he was 20 of age. Scholes said that the good, the bad, and the football, said this on the Good, the Bad, and Football podcast. Once went up for Manchester United, and everything was on him. The pressure was on him, and he couldn't handle it. He should be coming in and out of the team. There should be 3 or 4 centre forwards there. Okay. Should be coming in and out of the team. The pressure was on him. He couldn't handle it. Let's assume that the pressure was on him, and he couldn't handle the pressure. What about Benjamin Šeško? Is there no chance that he's going to handle the pressure? He's pretty young. He's 22. At least we signed Rasmus Højlund at 20. Šeško, we signed him at 22 or 21, as the case may be. So there's a chance that he can handle the pressure and is more matured to deal with it or to handle it, right? But it is what it is. Yeah. I'm also seeing news that other midfielders that we talked about yesterday, Elliot Anderson is of interest to Man City as well. But yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that. Whatever comes of it, we'll let you guys know. But this is according to the Mirror, so make of it what you will. But Scholes has criticized Man United's transfer strategies and all of that. ITN just asked a question in the chat. He says, what's the latest? Is there anything important? Well, I'm going to give you one important one, kind of like an update on the takeover update. According to Chris Wheeler and Nathan Salt, something as big as a potential Manchester United takeover is always shrouded in secrecy, which is something that we already all knew. Someone just posted a tweet and it sent everybody haywire. We already knew that it's supposed to be shrouded in secrecy. So it's very hard to tell, this is what Chris Wheeler is saying, if there's any real possibility of the club being sold. The Glazers would demand in excess of 5 billion to sell up the consortium that Turkey Al-Ashik has alluded to is a UAE-based consortium. Now, I saw something else with regards to this takeover update, stating that the agreement has not been reached, but they are like talking within themselves to see if basically they would be able to come together to either form a consortium, take over Manchester United and all of that. But yeah, when anything breaks, we'll let you know. Yeah, we need... Okay. ITN says, there's way too many ex-United players talking. We need to get them gone or not support them. In my view, it's damaging to the club at this point. Exactly what I've been trying to say. Thank you very much for making that point. Exactly what I've been saying. Too many ex-Man United players talking, and it's really damaging the club. I won't lie to you. It's really damaging, but it is what it is. They say one thing and it heaps pressure on the players. Now, I have another latest. This is from Think Talk. I don't know if you guys can see it as credible, but it's from Team Talk. Bayern Munich have been tipped. So when they say have been tipped, is pretty much a guess. Have been tipped to make a move for Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes. After turning down advances from Saudi Arabia, the Portuguese midfielder could be available for as little. They call it little because we signed this guy for 45 million euros. But they're saying he could be available for as little as 40 million. He wants to go to Europe. They're going to lowball us. It's Manchester United. They say we sell poorly, so it is what it is. Other European clubs, including Real Madrid, could also become interested at that price, or they could be interested at more because he's delivered more than he was bought. He's delivered for more than he was bought, and all of that. So it is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, everything that you are seeing is all speculation, speculation, speculation. Yeah. Yeah. So ITN is also backing up his statement by stating that Arsenal had this issue until they got most of the ex-players to move on and to stop Arsenal chat. Now look at how they've been doing. Yeah, and in fact, the only Arsenal ex-player that talks positive about the club, and that is Ian Wright. The rest, maybe they come on TalkSport and they talk one or two things, and I think Tony Adams as well. They come on TalkSport. Then there's this other guy who likes to argue with Simon Jordan on TalkSport. They come on TalkSport, they talk one or two things, and they leave. So, but Man United, Gary Neville, the chief protagonist of talking about Man United and talking badly about Man United. Gary Neville's number one. You also have basically other guys. Gary Neville. You have Roy Keane. Which brings me to Roy Keane. Speaking of Roy Keane, I think Roy Keane has criticized Marcus Rashford after Marcus Rashford came up to say that the environment he was playing in, or kind of like he has been in too many inconsistent environments for him to be able to reach his highest potential. And this is what Roy Keane had to say. So Roy Keane on Marcus Rashford saying that he's been in an inconsistent environment for a long time. Roy Keane says the environment didn't help him, but towards the end of his time at Manchester United, there were issues with his attitude off the pitch. He was late on several occasions, and that night in Belfast, he was part of the same environment problem he's referring to. That's a slight dig at Rashford. These ex-players, right, when they say things about players, I'm not saying that the players are not immune to criticism, but when they say things about players, they kind of heap on unnecessary pressures on these players, making it difficult for these players to thrive. It's really hard. It's really, really hard to be a Manchester United player with these ex-players, dropping bombs left, right, and center, and saying all sorts of things. But Marcus Rashford has his own role to play, as I've said on this channel multiple times, because there was this basketball game that Marcus Rashford attended, I think before coming to that. There was this basketball game Marcus Rashford attended, I think before Amorim started. This was in November. I think November international break. He wasn't called to the England squad, so he went to the basketball game. At the same time, Casemiro wasn't called to the England squad, but Casemiro attended that game too, the same game. But obviously, Marcus Rashford dressed in a very flashy way. I mean, everybody expects that he's allowed to dress however they want. Casemiro wore a simple t-shirt, went with his wife. Rashford went alone with his entourage and all of that. And he was being slagged. In fact, where the pressure started mounting for Rashford under Ruben Amorim is when Gary Neville asked Ruben Amorim about Marcus Rashford going on a break and going to watch football when he should watch basketball when he should be back in quarantine training and all of that. And Amorim said, those things have to stop and all of that. When we tell players to go on breaks, we give them their routines and stuff that they're going to do. And then Gary Neville, I think, planted a seed in Ruben Amorim's thoughts. So when Ruben Amorim came back, he gave Rashford a chance. 1 or 2 or 3 misbehaviors, and boom, Rashford was booted out. He scored a couple of goals. In fact, he scored the first goal in Ruben Amorim's era. But then, a couple of mistakes here and there, a couple of issues here and there, he was booted out. So it boils down to a couple of things. It boils down to a lot of things. The club has a role to play. Marcus Rashford has a role to play. ITN is saying that Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, and Keane, Paul Scholes now will so it was Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, Roy Keane, Scholes now, and there's others, Evra, but I'm sure I'm missing others. So he's calling all these ex-players. Evra hasn't come out to really slag the players like that. I think he's kind of said, so all things Evra says is kind of in a way to kind of motivate the players. But these guys, Roy Keane, who has come out at one point to say he's not a fan of Manchester United. Gary Neville, who comes out and corroborates what Jamie Carragher says, even when we know that Jamie Carragher is wrong, he comes and says, oh, because Jamie's his mate. So he comes and says, oh, this and that, and then he agrees. I mean, imagine agreeing for Man United to bring in Diego Simeone. Now, if they bring in Diego Simeone, I've said this on a live, and I said, the same guys who have said they should bring in Diego Simeone are the same guys that will criticize Diego Simeone for negative football and being overly defensive. We flash back to Louis van Gaal, same thing. Now, Rio, I think he's now cut back a little bit, since as fans have criticized him. He's cut back, but he still keeps dropping one or two things, like this recent one about switching the formation to 4-2-3-1 and all of that. Yeah, it is what it is. For Scholes now, he drops bombs left, right, and center. When he defends players, he defends them haphazardly. When he defends the manager, when he talks about the manager, he slags the manager. So when you are hot and cold, sometimes it all boils down to, how you see the club. ITN is saying all these ex-players constantly look at the current crop of players to the standard we had under Fergie. It's just delusional and salty as they get more money now than they are failing. So I mean, when they are failing, that's what basically ITN is trying to say. And in fact, it's saying that these ex-players will criticize this Man United players and basically get more money for doing it, get clicks, get the media to actually just agree. And then obviously they fuel the fan base, and when they fuel the fan base lap it on, because obviously these fans respect these ex-players. So we're just going to be, find a way to be positive about it. Yeah, it is what it is. We are it is what it is. Now we're going to talk about the Manuel Ugarte statement. I mean, most of you must have seen it, but we're going to just talk about it and then give you our views. So there was reports yesterday that, I don't know how, okay, let's talk about it. Let me not give you my view now. There was reports yesterday that Ruben Amorim slammed Manuel Ugarte. Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim reportedly criticized midfielder Manuel Ugarte during a meeting where he also told Alejandro Garnacho to find a new club. Amorim reportedly told Ugarte, this is what Amorim said: "You are not the same player than what you were at Sporting. This interaction is said to have occurred around October 14, 2025. Okay. So he also said Amorim's comment highlights the concerns about Ugarte's form since joining Manchester United. Ugarte played under Amorim at Sporting CP, where he was considered a key player. However, his performances at United have been inconsistent. According to reports, Amorim had previously warned Ugarte that he would not receive preferential treatment due to their shared history at Sporting, which is what every manager should say or would say. But it is what it is. Some fans have echoed Amorim's sentiment, with one fan stating that Ugarte's problems are that he is exactly the same player he was at Sporting and hasn't developed further. I saw this on a Reddit channel, and a Sporting fan came on and said this exact same words. Says, according to reports, Amorim had warned Manuel Ugarte, but despite recent reports of potential falling out, which never occurred, other sources suggest that both Amorim and Manchester United privately maintain trust in Ugarte's potential and believe that he can still become a top player at the club. Ugarte himself has acknowledged his inconsistent form, but expressed confidence in his relationship with Amorim and his determination to earn the starting spot. Fact, because Casemiro starts ahead of him. But it's going to be a problem. It's going to be an issue for everybody, and the media are going to lap onto it as well. Last season, he played 29 games for Man United, 1,789 minutes. He scored one goal or two, I think 2 goals. He scored I think he scored, because I remember he scored a goal wearing the blue jersey, he scored a goal wearing the red jersey. So he scored about 4 goals last season. We're going to check his stats. Manuel Ugarte stats for Manchester United last season. Ugarte. So Manuel Ugarte for Man United last season. Excuse me. Obviously, his preferred role is DM and central midfielder. Obviously, he's played 242 minutes, started 2 games, played 6 matches. Last season, let's see, previous. Yep. So we'll go to Premier League. Let's see, Premier League. So, no, sorry. Let's go to Premier League. 24-25 Premier League. In the 24-25 Premier League season, he scored 1 goal, had 19 shots, and Then in the same season, the FA Cup, I'm sure he scored. Let's see. So for the season, facts. Now, for 24-25 season, 2 goals. I said 1 goal in the red and 1 goal in the blue. I'm coming to you, ITN. Just give me a sec. He did well last season. 2 goals, 6 assists. 2 goals, 6 assists. That's 8 goal contributions in 45 games for a defensive midfielder. He had 0 goals and 2 assists in Paris Saint-Germain, and played in Sporting, and in all his playing in Sporting, 1 goal, 2 assists. But for Man United, he scored 2 goals and he made 6 assists last season on competition. So make of it what you will. Maybe he's improved or not, but he's been inconsistent. We all know that. But that's by the way. So before we go further into our analysis, I'll explain to you something. ITN is saying, what is the big deal about what Amorim apparently said about Ugarte? It is what it is, right? Only one thing is, why can't Amorim get him to play usefully? Okay. Now, like you said, what's the big deal? For me, it's not news. It should not make the news. It should not be a problem that Ruben Amorim criticized his own player. But when it comes to Manchester United, everything is news, because they come out to say criticized player, and then in the same meeting criticized Alejandro Garnacho. Then in the same post, you now say, oh, this meeting is said to have held October 14, 2025. Like, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. Let's see that. Yeah. So we will go deep into that article that says that this is Fabrizio Romano. And it was a private conversation. I don't know who leaked it, but it is what it is. I don't know who leaked it, but it is what it is. So we will talk about it. Man United, so this is in news. This is according to Matt Smith on Give Me Sport. So say Fabrizio Romano shares how Man United and Amorim privately feel about Ugarte. Man United manager Amorim maintained their trust in Manuel Ugarte despite inconsistent performance at Old Trafford. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed in an exclusive newsletter on Give Me Sport. Ugarte made the move back in 2024. All the details. Now, Ugarte at Man United. Writing that exclusive newsletter that they keep mentioning, Romano confirmed that although Ugarte's performances haven't always been excellent, the Uruguayan midfielder still has the trust from both Amorim and the club. The respected reporter claimed that all parties are hoping for an improvement soon. You know, the thing about this Ugarte situation is that the guy is just 24. There's a whole lot that he can offer. There's still a whole lot he will offer. Ugarte says, Romano says, of course, performances haven't been always excellent, but coach and club maintain their trust in Ugarte. They hope improvements soon. Ugarte has also had difficulties in joining United, but it often takes players coming from abroad time to settle and adapt to the Premier League. The Red Devils have been linked with a host of different midfielders over the last few months, so it will be interesting to see how regular Ugarte is in Amorim's side if they do bring reinforcements in the middle of the park. So that's pretty much all the news. Now, one thing I'm going to say about this is, Ugarte has had so much like stake, but also has been so inconsistent. But there's also a chance for him to also improve, which we're not going to lie. That is the situation. He's 24. He's yet to hit his peak. So you can imagine when he played under Rúben Amorim, probably was 19, 20 at the time. Young player, very aggressive, but he played under Ten Hag. He came in a 4-2-3-1 formation, moving from a 4-3-3 formation in PSG to a 4-2-3-1 formation under Ten Hag last season. And then lo and behold, just when things were about to take a turn, was it last season? Yeah, last season. But Ten Hag's 24-25 season. Came 24-25 season. Let's have a look again. Manuel Ugarte seasons. So he came August 2024. So 24-25 season, right? He comes under Ruben Amorim, and then not long after that, a manager happens to come in. A new manager happens to come in 3 months later. August, September, October, November, we had the sack of Ten Hag, and then 3 months later, and that same November, we have Ruben Amorim. So he has struggled to fit into a system. And then because of those inconsistencies, it's difficult for him to actually have regular playing time in this squad. And Casemiro seems to be playing better ahead of him. Speaking of Casemiro is doing well. Where he lacks the pace, he balances it with, playing quick transition football, now able to find other midfielders and other wingers and the centre backs and all that. And then when he's ready to screen, he screens. So he'll be very important in that Liverpool game. So that's pretty much what it is. Casemiro is ahead of him, and in that midfield, number 6, defending and screening the back. Now, if we're going to do a bit of a talk about so now the final thought on my final thought on this Manuel Ugarte thing is the fact that he has been criticized, and the report says he was also criticized alongside Garnacho. But how does Garnacho respond to it? Before that criticism, Garnacho already went on to the media and said what he said that led to Ruben Amorim saying find a new club. But Manuel Ugarte was criticized, and what's the response to criticism? You do your best to play well. You do your best to improve. You do your best to keep other players on the bench while playing. So I don't see how this is a big news. I don't see how this is news. It's old news, because the truth is, bringing it back it just shows that everybody's looking for what to post or talk about Manchester United. Now, with a few minutes left of this stream, we're going to talk about a bit about Liverpool and the preview. Until when I do a deep dive, on which will come out tomorrow, you see that tomorrow. I have other reports, other researches that I've done, basically, that are going to be due tomorrow. So we'll talk about them. One of them is, they're going to be due later today. We'll talk about the media narratives. We need to dive deep into those ones, for media narratives, and we'll also do some analysis on the international break, how players performed and all of that potentially will come out today. But let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. With Liverpool preview, Man United are going to a difficult ground to play. Man United are going to a difficult ground to play, and I've said this, I don't want mediocrity. I want us to approach the game like we want to win it, and if we get a draw, that's fine, but if we win, we win. Because I don't want mediocrity, I don't want a situation where Man United will go to that game and then be looking for a draw. No, I want us to go there to win, because we can beat Liverpool, and there's a chance that we can. And they said, and the update we have is that Man United will wear the white jersey, white away kit, heading to that Liverpool game. Then obviously it will be a very hostile environment, and we have to be prepared and all of that. With regards to team news, team news, Man United will hope that all our international players are back at Carrington. There are some eye-catching involvements like the likes of Brian Bumo, Patrick Dogu, Casemiro, Mateus Cunha, Ahmad, Diego Leon, who made his senior debut for Paraguay. Eden Heaven was first off, but there are no reports of any injuries and all of that. Hopefully when he comes back today or tomorrow, we shall know. Mazraoui linked up with the Morocco camp despite being sidelined for previous 2 matches, but did not feature for the Atlas Lions as they finished their World Cup qualifying campaign with a 100% record. So Morocco have qualified for the World Cup. 27-year-old defender was in the excellent win over Chelsea, but started out games against Brentford and Sunderland, and Ruben Amorim is not expecting him to return after this break, but obviously there's reports that he'll be back after the break. Lisandro Martinez continues his recovery. Amorim is also to hold a press conference this Friday to preview the game. Now, speaking of Liverpool, just a brief preview, like I said, Alisson's thigh injury means that he's a major doubt for the game. For Liverpool, he has not been completely ruled out yet by Arne Slot, but we'll find out by Friday. Ibrahima Konate returned early from France duty, and Wataru Endo did not link up with Japan squad for their friendlies against Paraguay on Friday. Gravenberch came off the Netherlands in their win over Finland, but stressed afterwards that it was only a precaution. Giovanni Leoni for Liverpool has an interior cruciate ligament. So someone signing Giovanni Leoni tore his ACL on his debut in the Carabao Cup victory against Southampton. Why I flinched at ACL? Because it's a bad injury, man. It goes you're out for almost a year. Lisandro Martinez is pretty much going through it now, and it's set to be sidelined for a year, as I just said. So that's a quick preview on the Liverpool team as a whole. In other fixtures, 4 matches have been rescheduled for Manchester United. So because of TV thing, so West Ham game has been rescheduled to Thursday, December 4th. Then the Wolves game away is happening on December 8th. The Bournemouth game at home is happening Monday, December 15th. And then the Aston Villa game is happening on Sunday, December 21st. Now, I know that the African players who are going to the AFCON will be around for the West Ham game, around for the Wolves game, and potentially the Bournemouth game. And after that, they're gone for the AFCON, because AFCON starts on the 21st, Sunday. So hopefully we will, they will be available for those games. And then after that, we can now play Aston Villa we can play Aston Villa on the 21st. So that's pretty much all up on the fixtures and everything in between. I mean, we could go on and on talking about all the Manchester United, but that's all about Manchester United news and all of that. But yeah, Anfield is going to be a hostile environment and everything in between. But yeah, we'll do a match preview. Put it out tomorrow. We'll analyze Ruben Amorim's press conference on Friday. Today we'll still put out like 1 or 2 more videos talking about how the international players on international break performed. We'll also talk about the media bias, because we need to talk about it, because just to give you a hint of what we're talking about. What's his name? This guy, former Tottenham Hotspur, I keep messing his name up. Former Tottenham Hotspur and Aston Villa and Swindon Town coach. His name is Tim Sherwood. Tim Sherwood came out and spilled some wibble, basically absolute wibble, and we'll analyze it, and we'll talk about the media bias and how they thrive off of making money from Manchester United. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section as we build towards the weekend. And thank you so much for supporting us. ITN, thank you so much. And for all of you in the chat, all of you who have been commenting as well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. I'll see you on the next one. One of these days, we will have conversations where we'll display the chats on the screen, where everybody can actually chip in and make comments, and we can, talk and all of that. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section about everything we've talked about today. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for joining on this live. Take care. Goodbye and God bless.